It's Rob!
Tony!
We're in gaming!
And that's you!
Hello inmates and welcome back to the inn. I'm Rob, of course, our War Shack if you want to call me by my in-game name. And today we're going to be doing our deck guide on the new Murloc Paladin deck with the new Karazhan cards such as Barnes and the Ivory Knight. As you guys know, we've changed around our deck guides a little bit, so now we talk about the deck beforehand instead of after we've completed our games inside of Hearthstone. So going over the cards now, we have Forbidden Healing. Hello inmates and welcome back to the inn. I'm Rob, of course, our War Shack if you want to call me by my in-game name. Today we're going to be doing our deck guide on the Murloc, well I should say N'Zoth Murloc Hello inmates and welcome back to the inn. I'm Rob, of course, our War Shack if you want to call me by my in-game name. And today we're going to be doing our deck guide on the N'Zoth Murloc Paladin deck, a very popular deck currently on ladder. Probably one of the most popular Paladin decks at the moment. We have the Murloc Paladin, we have the N'Zoth Paladin, but we have not seen the mixture of the hybrid of the N'Zoth Murloc Paladin, which I'm going to bring you. So as you guys know, at the start of our deck guides, we normally talk about the deck a little bit. We're going to talk about the synergies within the cards, combinations that we can expect to use during our gameplay, and then after this kind of run through of every card in the deck, why it's in the deck, and synergies within the deck, we're going to play a few games, probably in between 3 to 4 games. We're going to highlight some of the synergies, again, how to play the deck, the thought process that should go into every turn, the cards you need to be playing, when you need to play those cards, and why you're playing them in the certain situations. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to go over every possible outcome and thing, but I'm going to do my best to give you this as most information as possible regarding the deck and the cards within it. So first off, let's talk about the deck a little bit. Keep in mind that this isn't like... The deck here is a template for you. You can change a couple cards here and there depending on your play style and what you see the meta is looking like. Obviously, if you're going against a lot of control decks and the Forbidden Healing isn't really doing anything, it's a dead card in your hand, feel free to change a Forbidden Healing out for another Ivory Knight. These are okay changes that you can make on your own that, you don't need to ask, is it okay to do this, is it okay to do that? These are just small changes that you can, make over time to match your play style and what the meta is panning out to be. If there's a bunch of control, make your deck better against control. If there's a bunch of aggro, make your deck maybe a little less control-y and a little better against aggro. It all goes without saying. So double Forbidden Healing in the deck works really well against most aggro decks. They get you down to anywhere between that 5 to 12 life point range where they can burst out the damage at any point in time. Spend your turn using Forbidden Healing, heal yourself up to 20 plus, and most of the time it basically resets the game and they'll be very disappointed. It's a free Reno Jackson. It does cost quite a bit of mana because you spend all the mana and then you restore half that. So the max healing you can receive is 20, and it would take all of your 10 mana crystals away. But, if you're playing against a Zoo deck and he's finally ran out of steam and he only has 1 or 2 cards on the field, even using all of your turn to heal, he's not going to be able to do that much the following turn. So really good card. Bluegill Warrior, this is basically your Murlocs. There's no reason to talk about why the Murlocs are in the deck too much, besides that they're the OTK combo for anything that can happen. So you want to combo your Bluegill Warriors with your War Leaders because they turn into 4/2 charge minions, which allows you to trade up with that maybe an Azure Drake or things of that nature instead of just, a 2/1 with charge and your opponent's playing mage and they can just use their passive to kill it. When it's a 4/2, you can make a trade with a pretty sizable minion, such as a 4-drop or maybe a 5-drop. But on top of that, it's much harder for your opponent to kill even if you're going face. The Doomsayers are very important as it allows you to get early game field control versus the aggro matchup. It is weak to the Stampeding Kodo, but we're going to pretend like that card doesn't exist. You can play this guy on turn 2. Most of the time, if you have the option to coin and play him on turn 1, most of the time it's better just to hold him off until turn 2, but we'll talk about the certain situations at which that is an acceptable play. But by Mulligan standpoint, you always want to try to get this guy in your opening hand. The later the game goes, the less value you'll receive from Doomsayer, but he's still a good card nonetheless. The equality is going to be basically your field clear in combination with the Wild Pyromancer, so you can go with the Equality Consecration, which will clear your entire opponent's board and leave everything on your side of the field with 1 HP, or you can go with the Equality Wild Pyromancer combination of cards, which is going to kill your Wild Pyromancer along with every other card on the field. And this can be used in synergy with the Solemn Vigil, which says for every card that has died this turn, this is reduced by 1. So if there's 5 minions that died with your equality consecration or your equality wild pyromancer, you're going to be able to draw 2 cards for free. And if you draw both your solemn visuals at this time, you're going to be able to basically draw 4 cards for the cheap price of 0 mana, so which is pretty good. So a lot of synergies within those cards. But just keep in mind with the equalities, you only have 2 of them. So this deck, it's not like Mage where you have Flame Strikes and Fireballs and Frostbolts and you just got all the ability in the world to clear the board. No, this deck requires you to save your equalities and consecrations and wild pyromancers and things of that nature for specific times in the game where it's most impactful. The Loot Hoarders is your card draw. Because this deck revolves around being able to play your Murlocs out very not very quickly, but you need to play your Murlocs by mid to late game so you can anything that can happen to OTK them. But the thing is, this is N'Zoth Murloc Paladin. So when they look at this deck and they're like, all right, well, we can deal with the Anyfins, or they've been able to entomb an Anyfin or not Anyfin, but entomb like a War Leader, or they've somehow managed to live past your OTK combo, you have N'Zoth in the deck. But we'll get back in, we'll talk about that more during the games itself, more than just looking over the cards. So your Loot Hoarder is synergized as well with N'Zoth, but it also allows you to draw, which is very important in this deck. The Wild Pyromancer, we've mentioned why it's good. It's also, if you have coin, you can use Wild Pyromancer, coin, and then play a spell, which allows you to basically clear the board if you're playing against any aggressive type deck, like a Zoo deck. So even using your Wild Pyromancer, not in combination with equality, but with coin, if you're going second, is also very powerful. The Alkalite of Pain, I've actually ran 2 of these, and I found that 1 is just enough. 2 is still good, but I had to fit in a card for Barnes, and Barnes has a chance to summon a Loot Hoarder, an Alkalite of Pain, or cards like Sylvanas or Tyrion, which in my opinion generates more value than an Alkalite of Pain. So I've actually I made room for the Barnes while removing an Alkalite of Pain, because essentially, he gives the ability to draw along with a lot of other things that could be very, very helpful in that situation. You could take out an Alkalite of Pain and, put in another Alkalite of Pain and take out an Aldor Peacekeeper. But I found the Peacekeeper really, really good against Shamans who play the 4-drop 7/7, because it nullifies their 4-drop 7/7, making into a 1 attack 7 HP creature, which is still a sizable creature and will still do work over the course of the game, but it's just not as impactful early on. You can kind of just stop it in its tracks, deal with it slowly, and then by turn 5 or 6, when you need to equality consecrate, it'll just get cleared up with the rest of them. And the War Leader, again, you only have 4 Murlocs in the deck, so there's going to be some games, guys, where you don't draw your Murlocs, and anything can happen. You get both in your hand, you've drawn no Murlocs, and it's going to be a dead card. It's going to happen. The deck, it sometimes unfortunately works like that, because there's only 4 Murlocs in the deck. Unfortunately, because it's standard, there's no old Murkai anymore, which was a really, really good Murloc. And also there's going to be the question of why no Murloc Knight. The reason there's no Murloc Knight is because it doesn't have charge and it doesn't buff other Murlocs. There's no synergy between Murloc Knight and anything that can happen. When you play anything that can happen, let's say all 4 of your Murlocs died, you've summoned two Murloc War Leaders, and you summon 2 Bluegill Warriors, and the Bluegill Warriors are going to have 6 attack each, because each Murloc that these guys give, it'll give +4 in stats. So it'll be a 6/3, and then when you summon them again, they're just going to be able to OTK your opponent with like 25 plus damage. So that's why there's the War Leaders and the charge minions, not the Knight. The Knight is good value, don't get me wrong, the Knight's a fantastic card, but does not fit in the OTK Murloc deck. Barnes is in the deck due to the fact that there's a ton of death rattles and they work really well with N'Zoth. So if you happen to pull a Tyrion or Sylvanas out of your Barnes, your N'Zoth gets that much stronger, and those are great cards to pull from Barnes. If you decide it pulls another, let's say Murloc, that's another Murloc added to anything that can happen. If you pull the War Leader, you can buff other things. The worst cards to probably pull would be the Aldor Peacekeeper and the Ivory Knight, due to the fact that they have no abilities whatsoever when they come out. So there's basically you played a 4-drop 4/5, which is a Chillwind Yeti, which is still a good card. The Doomsayer will be circumstantial, so let's say they overwhelm the field early on, you Barnes, you Doomsayer, it happens to live, probably not, kills the board. It's not the best, but there's a lot of good cards you can pull from Barnes, which is why it's in here. The Consecration, double Consecration, is basically a staple. It goes along with equality, like we've mentioned before, clears the board. The True Silver Champion is definitely going to be a card you're going to want to mulligan for, depending on the matchup. We'll talk about that more during the games. But it's a really good card early on that allows you to clear your opponent's board without having to trade your creatures in or use your equality consecration. Because again, this deck is a very limited field clear, which means you have to use it very, very sparingly. The Solemn Vigil, we've kind of been over that. That's your draw. The Ivory Knight, which is interesting. I've seen people play 2 of these. The thing is, it's really late, right? You're playing on turn 6. Granted, you do heal some, but he's only a 4/4. And when you discover a spell, most of the time, if you're going against maybe a control matchup, like a control warrior, you're looking for a third anything that can happen. Because if you get the third anything that can happen, you're going to kill them in one turn with like 35, 40 damage. And it's just an insane combination of cards. Because they have to deal with the first anything that can happen with Brawl. And then you play another anything. If they don't have the second Brawl, you know, they lose. And if they have the second Brawl, you play a third anything that can happen. That's just insane. So definitely look for the anything that can happen in the Ivory Knight when you're playing against a control matchup, which I'm sure during the games we'll get into. Sylvanas is definitely a really good death rattle. The whole synergizes well with N'Zoth. There's only currently 4 death rattles in the deck, which would be the double loot hoarder, the Sylvanas, and Tyrion. But the thing is, if you play N'Zoth and you're only bringing back Tyrion or Sylvanas, it's still a lot of value. But if you bring back both Tyrion and Sylvanas, that's huge. You basically have won the game unless your opponent has like a Twisting Nether. And at that point, you still get the 5/3 weapon from Tyrion, and they still have to get through your anything that can happen. So in this deck, there's quite a few win conditions that allow you to go about not only having to win with the anything, but you have N'Zoth as backup. So that's why I've actually included both in the deck, and I found it works out pretty well, considering you're going to play Tyrion in the Anything Can Happen deck anyway. So might as well just throw in N'Zoth. It is 10-drop heavy, but you're able to draw and hopefully cycle into some of your lower cards that allow you to stall the game out, such as Aldor and things like that. Sorry about that. My voice is dying today. Tyrion's just a staple in the deck. It's one of the best death rattles in the game, if not the best. Anything can happen. Obviously, we know why this is in the deck. This is your OTK combination of cards. It's going to allow you to win most games. N'Zoth will win games, but I think the main point of this deck is what's going to win you the most games is going to be the Murlocs. And if the Murlocs can't pull through, N'Zoth will. It's kind of one of those, if they happen to be able to deal with all your Murlocs, there's no anythings anymore. You're like, how can I win this game? I've already used both my anything can happens. You throw down N'Zoth, you make another Tyrion, you make another Sylvanas, and all of a sudden you're back in the game. And if that doesn't work, your Ivory Knight, hopefully it pulled an anything or some really good card, so you can play that out. If you're looking to play a second Ivory Knight, you can take out what did I have in mind? There was a Forbidden Healing. Because Ivory Knight counts as healing, so you can take out, the Forbidden Healing, which is just a spell for another Ivory Knight. Like I mentioned before, if you're finding yourself losing against a control matchup, and it also gives you another chance at pulling an anything that can happen from your Ivory Knights Discover. Very important there. So the deck, very straightforward in regards to kind of what you can expect it to do. It has a very straightforward game plan. Most games, like I said, you've went through the anything that can happen, or you play N'Zoth. Until you reach that point, you're stalling the game, playing your minions, drawing cards, and kind of just like holding down your opponent so you can make these really big explosive turns with those combination of cards. So let's get into the games, and hopefully I've explained this quite well for you guys so you have a good understanding of what to expect prior to going into some of these games, and I'll see you there. All right, guys, so we're heading into our first game here. We are going against the Druid, so obviously we're always looking for our Doomsayers in our opening hand, but Loot Hoarders aren't bad. Alkalite of Pains aren't that bad. This is not looking too good, so we're just gonna get rid of everything right here. I don't like anything in that opening hand. We also have coins, so our Wild Pyromancers now have an alternative activator. We can also play Barnes on turn 3, but we've got 2 10-drops in our opening hand. And like I mentioned before, and when we were talking about, there's a Doomsayer, so that's good. But like I said, when we were talking about the deck at the beginning of the video and drawing into the 10 drops and not drawing into the Murlocs, this in fact could be one of those games. It also looks like this guy is playing Beast Druid, which is a very, very aggressive deck. So we're definitely going to try to take advantage of that as much as we can by neutralizing his board. Aldor Peacekeeper was a really nice draw considering if he plays any really strong beasts. Next turn we can actually coin into Barnes, and that could give us an extremely strong card like Tyrion, and that would just absolutely blow out this game. So we're going to go for the coin Barnes, or we could go for the Alkalite of Pain, but I honestly like the huge tempo play that Barnes could give us right here. If it pulls maybe a Sylvanas, a Tyrion, even if it draws a Loot Hoarder, it's still a draw. A Murloc War Leader, not exactly the best card it could have gave us, but it's still a 4/5 basically in stats on board. If he decides he wants to swipe, that's one less swipe heading to our face, to be completely honest. Going into our turn, this Bluegill would have been really nice in combination with that War Leader that popped out, but we'll just go with the Alkalite of Pain, solid draw. And then the Ivory Knight, of course, on 6. Next turn, maybe a Peacekeeper and a charge. Okay, so it looks like we can't really interact with the Stranglethorn Tiger, but we can, however, play other minions. We're gonna keep the charge Murloc in our hand as like a because all right. So we could have, instead of playing the Silverhand Recruit, pushed face for an additional 2, but we're not gonna win by doing that. So this is kind of like, let's say he plays like a huge toad. This will be able to kill the huge toad if we can't otherwise deal with it. So he's going to go ahead and deal probably 3 damage to the Alkali Pain or hit the Loot Hoarder. Okay, so he's going to hit the Loot Hoarder for 1. Solemn Vigil is an okay pickup, not the best. And I'm assuming he's just going to push pure damage to the face here. We all know our next turn's probably going to consist of Peacekeepering this and then swinging our Alkali Pain into it. I don't see him not going face here, though. Saber into, okay, Invisible. Still can't really interact with his board that much, which really sucks. So we're going to go ahead and definitely Peacekeeper this down so it's not going to be able to do as much as it can. Go ahead and swing our Alkali into it. We're going to be able to draw from this, hopefully draw into some of our better healing soon. And due to the fact next turn is most likely going to consist of an Ivory Knight, like, Bluegill Warrior is an option, but I still don't like it that much, considering if he has another swipe, we are completely boned. So we're just going to make a dude and just go face. We need to draw and do one of our... I mean, Ivory Knight's okay healing, but Forbidden Healing is obviously the best option here. We have 2 of them in the deck, so drawing it shouldn't really be a huge issue. So the Savage Combatant to kill our 3/3 Peacekeeper, or he could just go face for 6 damage here, putting us at 11. All right, so he makes the decent trade, goes ahead and makes another trade with the Tiger. I even maybe see the trade with the Alkali Pain, or he makes the value trade there. Okay, so we actually draw into a Consecration. This is huge right now. Actually, no, not that big. It's still good. Wow, Consecration, that is good, but it doesn't really deal with a whole lot, to be honest. I was thinking we had a quality in our hand, but we do not. So this is what I was talking about with the Murloc. So we're going to go ahead and attack into this guy. Definitely need the Savage Combatant dead. But this actually gives us the ability, like I said earlier, to charge out with the Murloc, make the trade there. Unfortunately, we cannot play the Vigil because we're 1 mana off. But as long as he can't do huge bursts of damage here, we should be able to Ivory Knight, maybe heal for, I want to say around 6. And that should be good. Mounted Raptor's quite annoying. So there's the Pyromancer. So we actually could Pyromancer, Consecration, does 3 damage to everything, but I really don't like that play too much. So we're just gonna go with the Ivory Knight. Lay on Hands is a good card to pick, and we'll go ahead and attack into the Azure Drake. And then we'll make a dude. So leaving the Beast up, the Mounted Raptor could be a problem due to the fact that he can make it +2/+2 and draw a card, but I think killing the Azure Drake is still far superior. Ivory Knight coming in clutch, though, with that 8 heal. So there's a huge toad, okay. So currently everything on his board, besides the 1/5, oh, never mind. I was going to say would die to the Consecration. It's interesting to see why he wouldn't make the 2/2s and make those into 2 and just push the pure damage there. But it looks like his field is going to die to the Wild Pyromancer Consecration combo, which is really, really nice. So we could go ahead and do a little something different, but I think the Wild Pyromancer Consecration is the play to make here, considering it's going to clear the board. Where does the 1 hit? All right, it hits onto there. I actually like, we can either play the War Leader or draw 2 cards and make a 1/1. This is an interesting decision because we are looking, I guess we don't really need additional here, so making the 3/3 is actually okay. Yeah, we'll go ahead and make the 3/3 instead of drawing 2, because we can actually draw 3 next turn and heal for 8. And this also develops the War Leader, so we can anyfin if we want to, and it's actually going to summon a Bluegill. It's going to be able to push through there. We actually can kill the Fandral. So I'm pretty sure a War Leader died because it came out of Barnes, and a Charges died, which means our guy's going to have 6 attacks. So we can actually anyfin here, and it shouldn't necessarily be an issue. Another option is we could go in Lay on Hands, but then it leaves the Fandral up, and I really do not want to leave that Fandral up. So I think this is fine. So we get to swing into there, and we can actually swing here. We actually could have done that in an opposite order. I attacked too quickly. We could have swung our charge into there, and the charge would actually live, and then our war leader could have attacked the Fandral. That was my bad. For some reason, I thought the charge minion had 1 extra health. Ooh, Ragnaros is a big deal. We can put... Actually, he can kill us here. If Rag goes face and his Tiger goes face, he's going for it. So it's a 33% chance we lose in this situation. All right, so we still are hanging on in there. So... we would have another Murloc on the field, which really sucks. This guy can attack. We're gonna summon. I think we can. I think there's merit to just go ahead and playing another anything that can happen here. We can't deal with the anything he's got going on with our current spells, so I think we play this again. Is this lethal? This is 16, and then we have the 7 here, so actually not lethal, but close. So this is gonna make the trade here. This is going to make the trade here. Yeah, I kind of like the war leader staying alive. And then we'll swing for 7. So as long as he doesn't have like Druid of the Call swipe, we win. Because we'll be able to heal for 8 next turn. Nice victory. Nice, nice, nice. We could have made a little bit better plays. Like I said, made the more value-oriented trades. But I kind of played a little too quickly there, guys. Sorry about that. But we'll head into another. Beast Druid is a good kind of first matchup. It's a very aggressive type deck and really hard to keep up with. Beast Druid is actually very underrated right now in my opinion. The win rate on that deck is extremely high. All right, so queuing up into game number 2 here. We'll see what we're going against so we can make a game plan accordingly. Shaman, Potter U. I think I've heard of this guy before. We'll have to look him up after the game. We're just going to make the assumption he's running face Shaman because that seems to be the most popular. So maybe keeping Consecration in our opening hand is a good choice, but normally we hard mulligan for the Doomsayer, we hard mulligan for Loot Hoarders. Things that allow us to draw Oriana Equality is pretty nice, while Pyromancer is pretty nice, especially the fact that we can't use Consecration on an Equality until turn 6, so I'd rather almost mulligan for Equality Wild Pyromancer, to be completely honest. We got the Loot Hoarder, which is pretty nice, but no anything that can happen. Ouch. Definitely having a starting 10 drop in our hand is not what we're going for. Forbidden Healing's okay, just not in turn 1. There's the Doomsayers, but he didn't play a card, so we don't actually have to play the Doomsayer just yet. We actually, the game prior to this, we just played Amnesiac, which was pretty cool. Unfortunately, we did lose. I'm gonna be honest, our hand was pretty fucking bad. Our hand was like double Consecration, double Solemn Vigil, double Anything Can Happen, and what was the other one? Not even an Ivory Knight. It was, I think, Tyrion, and then another really high drop. It was just, it was wacky. All right, so he Maelstrom portaled, brought out a 1/1. I guess we could go ahead and play the war leader, right? I don't see a Doomsayer to really. What was his turn 3 be? Feral Spirits, and then we'd kill 1 and then Doomsayer. Yeah, I think this is fine. I don't mind throwing out the war leader just to say, hey, Lamau, how you doing? Because war leader is most likely going to be able to kill whatever else he brings out, and if he brings out more than 1 creature, we can just Doomsayer hero power. So. And if he doesn't kill the war leader, then we can just buff it up with our following war leader and then make the trade. Flame Tongue Totem goes face. Oh, he makes trades. Okay. So this upcoming turn is definitely going to be Doomsayer hero power. So he's going to coin into a totem. Okay. Got a healing totem, which is pretty good. He currently has 2 damage on board, 4 mana to play with. Definitely Doomsayer hero power here. Hopefully he doesn't have the other 5 damage. So he'd need like, you know, a Rock Biter, Abusive Sergeant, maybe a Lightning Bolt Abusive Sergeant. Lava Burst does it, but that, you know, extends a decent amount of mana and a lot of his burst on a card that, you know, his field is still pretty weak after that in consideration. And it also leaves a 1/1 up. Not that this makes a huge amount of difference, but it's still a card left on the board. So if we goes face, he's just going to be hero power up his thing from below, make it cost cheaper, and then deal 2 damage to face, or he's going to go ahead and drop that Lightning Storm, and I see either a Lightning Bolt or a Rock Biter coming out. He's targeting that creature, so we have a Rock Biter going down on the Healing Totem. And then this is not too bad of a situation to be in. Double Consecration, not going to truly do anything at the moment. I guess we can just go ahead and drop the War Leader in hero power. Double Anything Can Happen. Again, we're just drawing bad these past couple game, guys. Like double Consecration, double Anything, and a Forbidden Healing. Like, we've got a lot of other cards in the deck that we're just not drawing. True Silver Champions, you know, Equality, Wild Pyromancer, Ivory Knights, Sylvanas, you know, anything else. It's very, very not so swell draws going on right now. And the fact that this is a healing totem, he's going to be able to heal this Flame Tongue totem back up, which is quite annoying. Loot Hoarder's okay. I think we're going to have to use the Consecration now, just because this field is getting a little out of control, and the fact that our Loot Hoarder can test this Flame Tongue totem, unless he wants to re-totem up and maybe get a healing totem or a taunt totem, or he wants to take care of the Loot Hoarder all on its own. But with a hand of what we've got going on, we don't have the cycle we need. We don't have the creatures to play. We have to use our Consecration offensively here, guys, because it's just, we can't get blown out. We still have 2 Equalities in the deck along with 2 Pyromancers, so it looks like he's playing Totem Shaman. Very interesting kind of deck he's rolling here. Double spell power. All right. Gives all totems. Okay. So equality would be pretty sick here. No equality. But we can, however, kill this Witch Doctor with another Consecration. Are we? Yeah, I think we definitely need to kill the Witch Doctor. We can't leave this thing alive. That thing is just too good. And we're going to kill 2 more creatures, which means this is going to cost 2. So we're still out of range by 1, which makes me sad. But he's also getting out of cards, right? So unless he, like, rips a what is it called? Mana Tide totem? Oh, gosh, another Wicked Doctor. Does this cost 4 mana? Okay, it does. No taunt? All right, good. So we can rip True Silver now. True Silver off the top to take care of this Witch Doctor, and we're in a pretty good position. Totemic Might gives 2 totems plus 2 HP. All right. This is an issue, folks. This is an issue. Ivory Knight is a card. Or do we want to go for the draw here? I think we want to go for the Ivory Knight. Well, drawing 2 is kind of hard to argue, right? But it still puts a 4/4 on the board, and it can give us, like, you know, another Concentration. Holy, I think we go for the Consecration here. And we'll go for the Hero Power. Because if we draw into Equality, it's a good activator for that again. But unfortunately, I see a Bloodlust or a Thunder Bluff in my future. And if it's a Thunder Bluff, we damn sure need to draw Equality. That's no option there. So you get totems up, so no Thunder Bluff this turn. Gets the Taunt Totem. Will we see a Bloodlust is the question. Like if we draw, oh, Lightning Storm. Okay, so this is going to do a sizable amount of damage. Summons another Taunt Totem. So Wild Pyromancer is a really nice draw. Equality is probably the best draw we can get right now. Equality is in fact, like I said, the best draw. A Lamau. So this is going to clean up the board quite nicely. And we'll go ahead and draw 2 for free. Another Forbidden Healing, another True Silver, and we'll go ahead and heal up. Or not heal up, but summon a 1/1. The True Silver Champion, unfortunately, it only does 4 damage, so if he decides he wants to drop the Thunder Bluff, we don't really have a great way to kill it. For Murlocs that have died, we've 2 War Leaders and a Charge Minion, so it's actually not that bad to play Anything Can Happen. We have 3 of the 4 Murlocs in our deck. And definitely killing this Mana Tide totem is of utmost importance. We can actually True Silver, so it depends what we draw here. 2 True Silvers, I think it's safe to say we can anyfin. And from what I remember, 2 War Leaders have died. And a Charge Minion, because I remember charging into the Wicked. So we'll see if I'm right here. Yes. It's definitely going to kill this guy off without a doubt. And then we can actually, should we put 1 damage on the spell power? I don't think it really matters considering we will have lethal next turn because we can anything can happen again. All right, so they're interesting game with a Totem Shaman. Basically all came down to making sure we had the equality. But I mean, we have 2 in the deck and just drawing 1 was going to be able to, was a win there. So. All right, so heading into the 3rd game here, we're playing against a Shaman. VLPS, how nice of you to join into us. All right, so if you guys don't know who VLPS is, we actually played Amnesiac earlier in the videos. I'm not sure if that'll get posted or not, but that was an interesting game. Now we're playing against VLPS, which I'm sure will be another interesting game. So the fact that he's playing Shaman, he most likely is going to be running either mid-range or aggro. Definitely not control based on what I've seen him play in the past. I actually like both Bards and True Silver. The fact that we can coin them out on turn 3 is very aggressive, but the problem is we're looking for equality and Doomsayers. But this is a really, really solid start, to be completely honest. I'm actually going to be a little greedy in this matchup, and we'll see if it pays off. He replaced one card as well, so I mean, as long as he has a semi-slow start, I think we'll be all right. No Tunnel Trog on 1 is a good sign if he doesn't have it. If he does have it, it's a pretty bad sign, and we probably shouldn't have been so greedy. All right, so no Tunnel Trog on turn 1. We do have Loot Hoarder on turn 2, which is quite nice, because we normally do not want to play the Wild Pyromancer, but playing against VLPS is always an interesting thing. It should be a very fantastic game. Another Loot Hoarder, pretty good start. So we actually can coin Barnes into True Silver Champion. So Barnes, easy Tyrion, GG no re. So he starts off with the Feral Spirit. So normally I'd almost want to coin into True Silver Champion, but Barnes just feels so much more aggressive if he can pull out something like a Sylvanas or, you know, a Tyrion. But I have a feeling, we got it! We got it, boys! Oh, it's that sick, nasty plays, guys. It is simply sick nasty. Holy shit. Poor VLPS. He must be kind of mad right now. I'm sorry, man. Like a 5-3 weapon off the bat. Oh, as soon as I heard like something in the light, I'm like, all right, that's Tyrion, main. So he keeps hero powering, which is interesting because he may not be actually playing the aggro. It doesn't look like it. He could be playing the meme Shaman. So I actually don't like playing any creatures here. We could have gone like Bluegill Warrior Loot Hoarder, but that leaves us susceptible to cards like Elemental Destruction and things like that. We definitely want to save the Tyrion's Divine Shield for as long as possible. So just going ahead and attacking some of these minions right now, getting them down, and then the question is, do we go face with Tyrion, or do we just start knocking off some of these totems? And I think we can just start killing the totems. Well, it's a healing totem out, so there's no point to attack any totem currently. So next turn we have a, oh, okay, so he's gonna hex the Tyrion. Whew, that's a heavy blow. That's a heavy blow. So that's one hex down. So we could go with the Murloc into Bluegill and just go face and use our weapon to kill off this 1/2. I think that's the best play here. We go with the value trade. Is it worth making this value trade? Oh, apparently it is. My finger slipped. Saving the weapon seems fine though. Like, we're not beating this guy through bursting him through the original Murloc, so we're gonna burst him through any fin. It looks like he just got a really, really bad mid-range start. Okay. So what I see here is war into the 2/3, the weapon into the 2/3, and then my 4/1 into his 3/3, which seems fair. And then we could Doomsayer. Doesn't seem that bad. And now the option is, when we play our Loot Hoarder, do we want to combo that with Doomsayer passive? Because if he plays Tuskar, or I mean Thunder Bluff this turn, these are going to have 6 attacks, so it stops him from playing that, which I think is pretty decent. And also we have a lot of good drops we haven't drawn into. We still have 2 Ivory Knights to draw into. We still have Tyrion to draw into. We still have Sylvanas to draw into. He's already used his Hex, so we're not that scared. It looks like he just totemed up. Just gonna go face here. There's no reason for him to really play anything. We're gonna get 2 draws to draw something big. We also get the free Solemn Vigil, which is really huge in this particular matchup. Another War Leader, and anything can happen, so I guess we can just drop the War Leader and make a dude. I wouldn't be surprised if he hexed the War Leader. But he knows our Tyrion is in our deck, so I don't really see him hexing this, to be completely honest. No Mana Tide, okay. I was gonna say no Totem Golem, no Mana Tide, please. But I can't really complain because we just ripped the Tyrion out of our barns. So another Anyfin. So we already have the double Anyfin. If we Peacekeeper the 5/5, that doesn't really do anything. Equality Consecration feels pretty bad, to be honest. We don't want to use that early on. We could go with the Consecration Peacekeeper swing, which I like a little bit more, right? So we'd be able to Consecration, it's going to kill his board. We could go with the Peacekeeper. Onto the 5/3, making it a 1/3. We can swing into here. Our Murloc lives, and we swing for 1. And then, Tony, you leaving? Going to UCF? All right. Have a good day, Tony. So there's the Mana Tide. He's going to hopefully draw and pick up a Taunt Totem here. Another Tuskar Totemic. No Totem Golem. Another Mana Tide. Wow, that's 2 draws. That's pretty good for him. And a Hex onto the War Leader. Yes, we now can play Tyrion Sylvanas freely, which means whenever we N'Zoth, it'll be good. It'll be good. There's a N'Zoth. I guess we'll kill, or do our best to kill off 1 Mana Tide. The fact that he has 2 is pretty bad. This is going to be rough. I guess we attack into the Mana Tide. There's no really point to swing face currently. So he's hexed the Tyrion. He's hexed the War Leader. There's the Thunder Bluff. Definitely Pyromancer quality kind of turn after this. Chills into that. I think I just got blue. I was disconnected. Please reconnect me to the game. Not like this. Not like this. All right. We in. All right, so I guess we just go face. I mean, what if we anyfin this? We get a war lead. We get 1 War Leader and 1 charge, right? I forgot how many. That disconnect had me fucked up. I don't know how many Murlocs we have. I'm just gonna go with my heart here. I honestly don't know how many Murlocs we had because I lost track when we so I know we played 1 charge, right? Yes. But I don't know if we played the other one or not. If we would have had 3 Murlocs down, I should have kept track of that. We definitely, anything can happen there. So he was waiting for us to drop that equality because now he drops the second Thunder Bluff, which is really bad because now he can pair that up with a hero power. But we have the second Wild Pyromancer equality, which is basically going to be the GG here, most definitely. So this would normally be a pretty sizable board. We can actually get around just equalitying, swinging, and swinging. Then he only has this small board left. But I really don't see a reason why we wouldn't do it. Take full advantage. Next turn's Tyrion, passive, swing face, following turns N'Zoth, swing face, following by anyfin. That's basically what this deck does. It's just out-control your opponent, especially mid-range Shamans that start off a little bit slow. Definitely he still has 2 Fire Elementals in the deck. Definitely still has things from below. If he doesn't kill the 1/1 here, no Taunt Totem. Actually, it doesn't matter if he rolls Taunt Totem or not, because we can still make the trade into this Taunt. Ooh, we're taking at least 7 damage here. It really sucks that I don't remember if we have that, that totem or not, or the third Shaman, the third Murloc or not. Like really, the second I disconnected, I disconnected my brain from all the previous of the game. It really sucks. Like I just lost. I was just like, because last time my computer froze like that, we got a blue screen and I lost all of the footage that I had made, and it was just bad. But a win against VLPS, I mean, granted, we did get Tyrion out of our barns, but. Still VLPS. Still feels good, man. Consecration is pretty sick, but I think N'Zoth is even better. He's probably just like, what the fuck? He's playing Murlocs and N'Zoth, you greedy fuck. Good game, Niz. Good game. Good game, VLPS. Definitely one of the more respected streamers I enjoy watching. Definitely a great player, much better than myself. No doubt about it. We just got lucky. All right, so we'll play one more to wrap up this this Murloc Shaman deck. Hopefully we can whip out a win there. Definitely should have print screened that. Damn. We'll get it later. Solid win. So on our books, we've played against quite a few pros just today, but against who we've won against recently. Played Fibonacci, we won against him. Played VLPS, we won against him. Played Chalky, we won against him. We played against this rank 20 legend guy with our Freeze Mage deck. We beat him. I don't remember the name, but I definitely had seen it before. So it's been good. It's been good, guys. It's been good. Bluegill Warrior, not so much. Ivory Knight, not so much. I like True Silver. I like Loot Hoarder. No problems here. Okay, Doomsayer's nice, True Silver Champion's nice, Loot Hater's great. So I really like this opening hand a lot. Definitely can go places. Definitely going places. Alright, so because he didn't really do anything there as a fast pick, which makes me think that's going to be Wild Growth. But it was either a Wild Growth or Innervate. Definitely the Wild Growth. Created by Raven Idol. So, gonna Loot Hoarder. If he wants to kill the Loot Hoarder, he's gonna have 2 mana left over, unless he has a 2 mana creature to play. Oh, shit. He's playing Communion. Oh my god, this is a big deal. Alright. We're gonna hope that his next draw is kind of small, and then we'll Doomsayer next turn. Oh god, alright. Alright. Small draw. We're gonna draw 2 cards. We can Doomsayer. Or we could drop Sylvanas. No, we can't. It's too early in the game. What am I thinking? Alright, we're dropping Doomsayer. Well, what if his next card is not a creature? Nah, we can drop Doomsayer. And then we'll coin into Sylvanas. So I'm just hoping this isn't like a Nourish or something, because then he'd be able to play it. Like, he's not even worried. Oh gosh. That's a fucking draw. So this is like where I would have coined into Sylvanas there, but we didn't because we didn't have the mana. But now we can coin into Sylvanas. But the problem is it's gonna get taken. I mean, we're gonna take 12 to the face. What if he draws like, nah, even a Mulch? Nah, he could play a creature here and just go for the 50-50. All right. So what is good to draw here? I mean, those are 2 fucking disgusting ass top decks that he just got. So what do we do? Which one do we attack? Does it even matter at this point? I mean, it really just doesn't matter. So we're gonna take 12. We can heal ourselves back up, or we can choose to draw. I think healing is good, right? Like, what would draw do? I don't think drawing is worth it. We're gonna heal for 12. I mean, we could go for the True Silver Champion. I think the heal is fine. As soon as we drop Tyrion, we should be able to make the comeback here. But, I mean, 2 12 drops back to back after we had Doomsayer to stop him from playing a decent card. I mean, that's just... That's brutal. That's brutal, guys. We're 1 turn away from Tyrion, though, which is good. The fact that he doesn't play this is interesting. So definitely swinging into there. Thank God don't have a dragon in your hand. We know we're playing Tyrion the following turn, so I guess just developing our weapon is fine. Swing face, try to heal for as much as possible. We know Tyrion's dropping next turn, so we know that Ashbringer is going to take over the weapon we have now. So you couldn't ask for a better start from the Communion deck. So this is actually like not a meme matchup. Like he had Communion on turn 3 into a 12-12 and a 12-12. This is not an okay matchup. Like this is like, you know what I mean? Like normally he either gets it or he just gets pounded. But this is a situation where like, you know, he got, it was the good stuff. I think we're gonna hold on to our weapon. What if he mulches this though? He hasn't played both these cards. I think he has a mulch. We're gonna go face. What a game, what a match, right? Like what the hell? Alright, nice. Nice. Alright, making our way back down the legend ranks. So, nice win against VLPS, a couple nice wins against the other decks. This is definitely a weird kind of match, but still a win no matter what. And we'll go back to the deck list here and we'll kind of wrap up a little bit. So hopefully you guys got to see a little bit about the deck. You know, not only do you win with the Anyfin that can happen like I mentioned previously, but N'Zoth also. And the Barnes can rip, you know, the good stuff. Most of the cards he's going to bring out are good. If it brings out Murlocs, it's powering up your Anyfin. It brings out Acolyte of Pain Loot Hoarder, that's more draw. You know, just the worst ones would definitely probably be the Doomsayer, the Peacekeeper, and the Ivory Knight. But Besides that, mostly good picks. I guess N'Zoth as well would be a bad pick, but mostly, good picks from that. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or anything I didn't really cover as best as I should, just leave that in the comment section below, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. But besides that, enjoy the deck, destroy ladder, and let Murlocs live on. As always, I'm Warshak, of course, and happy whatever the hell day it is.